the Prairie Banana is live in the studio. So fancy. All right, relax. Relax, Mr. Prairie. But do fix your collar. Now, there is one gentleman for sure that was going to be in here today. So we'll definitely wait a few minutes for Caliente. I've seen you before. Hola. Where are you from, Caliente? I'm trying to hook my wallet up. And it's really not working. Grounded Hex. Love it. Trying to hook up a wallet. There's one gentleman that reached out on YouTube that said he wanted to be here. So, Chicago. Chirac? Is that how you say it? And I hear Chicago is rough. I haven't been there since about 1992 or so. We'll just give it a couple more minutes for some people to jump in, perhaps. Like I said, I'm waiting in particular for one gentleman that says he has a lot of questions, and I love questions. Not that I'm the guy that has all the answers, mind you, but I just know that I ask a lot of questions. JL. Hey, JL, are you the gentleman that reached out to me on YouTube that said you were going to be here? I think so. Just let me know if you would. But I ask lots of questions, and that's how we learn. Listened to a book some years ago titled A More Beautiful Question, something like that. And it was about how we learn, which is by asking questions. You know, we can be taught. Perfect. But then if we engage and want to learn, that's how, you know, the learning will be amplified. So cool. All right, guys. So I'm going to run through now this is the channel that does the same show practically every time. I try to do this weekly. It doesn't always work out. And I'm always like refining my script, if you will, and trying to make it better. The big improvement I did this week was I included a bunch of channels you'll see it in the link below in the description, the video description. Well, the channels that I cherry pick content from. So that's in there this week. And if you guys want to, if you find this information valuable, then by all means hit the like button and maybe make a comment, only because it will increase the exposure of this video, these videos, this channel, and then help educate people that are getting into Icosa and Hedron and Hex. And if people get excited about these products and learn how to use them effectively, then everybody wins. And that's the reason I'm doing this, because I love Icosa and Hedron and Hex. I started with Hex. So go ahead and throw your questions in. I will try to pay attention to the chat. And let's see. At work, a firefighter. Nice. Sounds good, man. Well, throw your questions in and I will answer them. And you can always just watch this later. Okay. So we're going to talk about Hex, Icosa, and Hedron. We're just going to touch on Hex because I kind of assume that many of you guys are into Hex already. And what I really need to do is do like one video on Hex and then put that link in the description so you guys can watch that about Hex. But the Icosa thing, I want it to be more dynamic, if you will. So here we go, man. Hey, do me a favor and put a 1 in the chat. I'm going to fix this thing. It's all coiled up. Put a 1 in the chat if you don't have any crypto assets at all. Put a 2 if you have Hex, a 3 if you have Icosa or Hedron, 1 if you don't have any crypto assets, 2 if you have Hex, 3 if you have Icosa or Hedron, while I unwind this. Just so I have an idea where you guys are coming from. All right. Well, first, I'm going to make an opening statement about all 3 of these products, Hex, Icosa, and Hedron. They are all immutable smart contracts. 2 of them have been fully audited, Hex and Hedron, and they've all had 100% uptime. Not Hedron, not Icosa. So what Alex did, he's the developer of Icosa and Hedron, is he had Hedron come out first. He had it audited, and he paid tens of thousands of dollars for something that the community could have done maybe even better. So he skipped the audit on Icosa, and it's been up since August 15th. So good. Okay, so perfect. All right. Right on, guys. Okay. Hook up a wallet. This is at the top of my list, and I can't get my wallet hooked up. First, we're going to talk about security. I recommend that you get a hardware wallet. I'll actually show you the one that I like. I like the Trezors. There's another brand out there. Maybe somebody could pop it in there. That's very popular as well. Only buy either, those brands, Trezor or the other one. But I like the Trezor model. What is this? It's the cheap one, $65. And the reason I like it is because, and I have the other model right here, which has the touch screen. This one's more expensive, and I don't like the touch screen. I like to be able to click. Like if you have to do authorize a transaction, you just hit that. I hit the button 4 times. Boom, done. So I like the Trezors. I'm a fan, and I heard somebody rattle off a long list of reasons why Trezor is better than the other wallet, but I wish I'd written those things down. First question regarding, let's see if I can pop this up. Let's jump to a question. Advanceable Hedron. I haven't been able to figure out A, how to acquire the Hedron, and B, is borrowing your advanceable Hedron a good strategy? Well, what you would do is, in order to borrow from a Hedron stake, it would be an HSI stake, because only an HSI stake has advanceable Hedron. So we're going to be doing a lot of this share screening. So I am going to pop over to where I should have my wallet hooked up. So what you do is you would be in this section, you would be in the Icosa dApp, and you would be in, I want to say you'd be in like the Hedron section. Perhaps in the Hex. I am not positive, honestly, where those HSI, I only had like several, I had a few HSIs at one time, swapped them all for Icosa. So I don't have much experience with those HSIs, but they'll be in here. And then what you can do is there will be a tab over on the right. I really wish my wallet was connected. It says it's connected, and I refreshed. MetaMask. Let's see if perhaps it'll pull up. There it goes. Okay, this is not my wallet, by the way. And this gal, she's an onboard, did have an HSI, and we swapped it for Icosa because it was a 15-year stake, and she recently retired. So your HSIs would be in here, and there will be a button over here. So there will be one right here, right, for example, and then under actions, there'll be a button there, and you'll click on it, and you can advance Hedron. So, and then once you advance it, it'll be in that wallet. And then you got to make a payment every 30 days. If you miss 90 days of payments, it'll go to liquidations. Is borrowing your advanceable Hedron a good strategy? It could be. And what you can do is, I would go to Crypto Sloth's channel. He has a couple videos. He talked about that quite a bit. But you could probably find a video on his channel about that strategy. Because what you can do is you can advance all of the Hedron, and you can actually pay the whole balance due in advance, I think. But then what you can do is you can stake that Hedron and earn Icosa. And you'll do that on this side. You'll stake your Hedron right here and earn Icosa. Okay, does that answer your question? Stop screen share. Okay, cool. So hardware wallets, only get them from the manufacturer because you want an unbroken chain of custody between the manufacturer and you. Beware of scammers. They will try to scam you out of your crypto. And one of the ways that they will do that is they'll ask for your seed phrase. People give up their seed phrases all the time and get hacked, or they'll get hacked by, on their computer. Never put your seed phrase, never digitize it. Never take a screenshot or a photo with your phone. Never digitize your seed phrase. What you want to do is engrave them on stainless steel. I should have some stainless steel here to demonstrate. And I actually use an engraver, and I engrave every word onto stainless steel plates, and then I store them in a safe place. And I got a $10 or $15 engraver to do that with. So I'm going to get rid of this question. Hide. Perfect. JL says, I actually created an HSI to try playing with this, and the options on the right side are 1, mint Hedron, tokenize, and end stake. Okay, I think what you need to do is tokenize. I was reading about this morning in cryptographics last night in cryptographics books. I do believe that you need to tokenize it first. Does that make? No, I think it needs to be untokenized. Yeah, man, I wish I'd brought that book out here. So I will reach out to you on YouTube and let you know. Are you in the Telegram chat? Because we could just chat in there too. And because I'll just look it up in Graphics' book because he explains it in detail. Okay, Hex. The thing about Hex is it's unique. It's like a crypto certificate of deposit, and it has a unique function in that it has a share rate that goes up over time. So what the share rate does is, like, Hex is not a holding token. You can hold some, but you're being diluted if you hold Hex. What you want to do with Hex is stake it, and that means you lock it up, and you can lock it up anywhere up to 15 years, 15.2 years. And when you stake it, when you stake Hex, the Hex is burnt, and you mint a T share or a share, maybe less than a T share, and then when you end that stake, the T share rate increases just a little bit according to how much your T share was. And so the reason for the ratcheting up in the share rate is so that you cannot end your stake and restake your principal and your interest and get more of it, more T shares. So it ratchets up. It's like a system to prevent people from hacking the system. Okay. And so the share rate is always going up. And what that means is it's working against us. So it's better to stake your Hex long, lots, and early as possible. But the Icosa and Hedron systems are built upon that T-share rate, as we'll get into. It's pretty brilliant. And when you stake a 1 T-share, a one t-shirt stake, whether it's an HSI or a native stake, you get 5,555,000 Hedron. Let me check the questions here. I am clocking in. Okay, let's segue over here. Would you mind expanding on why you are considering ending some Icosa stakes to take advantage of yield? Not exactly sure how that works. Okay, let's talk about that. This would be a great question for next week, because I haven't yet sat down with my my wife to talk about that. But she knows that we need to talk about it. It's a big thing. I have a stake ending, an Icosa stake ending May 11th. It was a day one stake, and it's accumulated. Like, let's just say I staked 1,000 Icosa. Well, right now it has like 1,800 Icosa in yield alone, and that yield is sitting there doing me nothing. It's like a pot of gold that I can't access until, you know, May 11th. And so we have this enormous wave of yield coming over on April 22nd. And I'm going to pull up Hex model. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So the idea is, so this is a 270-day stake. I would incur an 8% penalty on the Hedron and the Icosa that Icosa stake has generated. And it's at an 8% penalty. That's more than I'm comfortable with. If it was 1%, I mean, clearly I would probably EES, but it is 8%. So I am concerned that I would be losing out, even though there's this enormous wave of yield going to be coming through. So let me just show what I'm talking about. Icosa yield. Oh yeah, it's under a weird tab. I'm going to show you what I'm looking at here. Present. I'm going to get good at this. Share screen, enter screen, boom. Okay. Check this out, guys. Okay, back in January, somebody benevolent, I think it was benevolently, oh, here you go. Somebody benevolently was making 50 T-share HSIs and sending them to the contract. The reason he was doing such large stakes is because the large stakes they go in the liquidations very quickly. The smaller ones, they're just, you got to spend gas, you got to spend Hedron to get these stakes. So people are more willing to buy the big ones. So he was doing I think 30 and 50 T-share HSIs, multiples. I think he did it over the course of a couple days. And that was 90, almost 90 days ago. And look at this yield that's going to be coming through on April 22nd. 6,000 T-shares. That is about, and let's look at the days previous. 182 T-shares. 154. There was some pretty good yield back in February 12th. Was another 90-day cycle. So this is a big deal here. And then in addition to that, we've got these other spikes here. That's 1,000. That's 2,000. So I have a stake ending right here or so. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to EES this thing, probably. But before I do, I'm going to counsel with my wife because she's better with numbers and all those variables than I am. And we're probably going to EES, and I'm going to do smaller stakes, 90-day stakes, so that I can intercept that wave of yield. I mean, can you see what I'm talking about? Let me know again if that doesn't answer your question. Then let me know. So I'm going to hide that. Looking at the chat here. Crypto Kong. Very good on how that's the play right now for staking if you're starting. What do you mean that's the play? There's a streamer whose niche is Icosa named Crypto Kong. I think is he the spreadsheet guy? He did some calculators with Google Sheets or something. Very good on how the Icosa works for staking. If you're the 90-day stakes, is that what you're referring to? I think so. All right, so I'm going to hide that. Yeah, we'll get better. Jerry, why does the Icosa price seem not so volatile? That's interesting because back at the beginning, once it actually was up, it went up to like $1.85, I think, and then it settled. And people were actually referring to Icosa as a stable coin. So why does it seem not so volatile? I think just because Hex right now is kind of in the last couple of weeks, it's kind of holding steady. And when you see Hex move, you'll see Icosa and Hedron move with it. Okay. And I think that's just why it doesn't seem so volatile, is because it's tied to Hex quite a bit. So a shorter stake length is advantageous for grabbing this yield. In my opinion, yes. And none of this is financial advice, but the reason being is that, I mean, think of it. If you could stake for 30 days, and you got to consider gas, especially on the ETH network. But if you were staking if gas wasn't an issue and you could stake for 30 days, let's say you stake 1,000 Icosa and you make 100 Icosa in yield. In 30 days, you put that $100, that 100 Icosa, and add it, restake it, and now the next month you're staking 1,100 Icosa, and you go like that, cycle after cycle, and it's called compounding, which is like the world's 8th great wonder, something like that. So yeah, I definitely believe in staking as short as possible, as short as reasonably possible, or whatever you have the ability to do. You do need to be able to create multiple wallets, and if you want me to show you how to do that, then we can do that. Yes, building off sloth spreadsheets. You're referring to Crypto Kong. Play meaning choosing Hedron versus Icosa. Cannot beat the yield on Icosa with at least 75% discount off ceiling price plus best yield. Yeah, I'm with you, man, on that. And I've done some work in seeing what is the best asset, in my opinion. Oh man, I want to show you guys some stuff. But yeah, for me, from what I've penciled out, if I had, I put something in Twitter the other day. It was a demonstration. I think I might be able to show it to you. Give me just a second. Here it is. All right, watch this. This is valuable. I'm going to put it on this screen here. Go back to StreamYard. All right, I wasn't planning to get into this, but let's do it. Oh, there it is. I'm still sharing. Okay. You guys are real patient. This is the new streamer guy over here. Okay. So this is the thing. You put 10,000. Now pay attention, guys. This is important. This blew me away. Okay. $10,000 into Hex, into Icosa, and into Hedron right now. What's going to happen? Okay. I haven't been into this for about a week, but okay. You've got two side-by-side scenarios. You've got a 5x behind ceiling price for Icosa and 50x behind ceiling price for Hedron, which is about where they are right now. So let's focus on that one for right now. Okay. So now this is based on last week's numbers, but $10,000 into Hex would get you this number of Hex, and so on for Icosa and Hedron. Now, we're only looking at the floor price. I did a video on this too, so you could watch that later if you wanted to. It's on my channel. But the floor price would be about 62 cents. I know we're at like 71 cents right now, but just for the argument of, I'm going to show you which asset I would put $10,000 in was buying right now, and why. The values in red are the leading token. So the floor price is 62 cents, and right off the jump, Hedron is the leading token. But let's go if Hex is at 10 cents, then the Icosa floor price is 80 cents, and still Hedron is in the lead. See how Hedron is more valuable than the Hex, and so on. And it's staying in the lead, staying in the lead. And then when you get to about $2, and a lot of this, see, I got the share rate over here. A lot of this is dependent upon that share rate. And we're going here. We're going to these share rates. But you see that the floor price of $26.73 and a share rate of 35,000, Icosa jumps in the lead. And it stays in the lead against Hex and Hedron. So, but again, that's it. So if we never went to the ceiling price, Icosa jumps in the lead. Now this is at the ceiling price. So same scenario, but at the ceiling price. See, I've got it doubled in here. Again, Hedron jumps in the lead. But then once we start getting into those big share rates, and we're not far from those, Icosa jumps ahead. Well, this is a bad example. This is a bad example. I'm sorry. I wasn't planning to do this, so okay. Scratch that. What happens is, I wish I had the other one that I put on. Just watch the other video, because what you'll see is that even though Hedron is in the lead, still Icosa is catching up. It's like constantly catching up. You can divide this number into this one, and this one into this one, and you'll see that Icosa is always gaining. It's a head spinner, but it's dependent upon that that share rate. Oh boy, I'm way behind. Yeah, check out Crypto Sloth. He is a brainiac, man. He is so smart. I love that guy. Let's see. Just bear with me here, guys. Gas fees. People wake up. Yeah, no kidding. Not going to be an issue on Pulse Chain. So, I mean, at least at the beginning. Good. Glad you got the light bulb coming on. Yay. Nearly 77 cents. I love it. All right, guys. Back to the presentation. Okay. Hex share rate is always going up. So that's what we're fighting against. All right, let's talk about HSIs. The benefits of HSIs are that the main thing from my perspective is that they're portable. So you can tokenize your HSIs and send it to any wallet that you want, any of your wallet or a friend's wallet, which makes them essentially more secure. Because if you made an HSI from a compromised wallet, you could just send it to a better wallet. You could use them as collateral. You can sell them on OpenSea or on Hex Market. You could advance Hedron from them, and you can stake that Hedron to earn Icosa. Then you stake the Icosa to earn more Hedron and Icosa. You can tokenize them and send to the Icosa contract for Icosa, and then stake your Icosa to make Icosa and Hedron. You could now the best way to make an HSI is to do a 5555, a max length HSI, because if you send it to the Icosa contract and it's a full length stake, you get 10% more Icosa. It's basically a financial NFT without a monkey picture attached to it, and it earns Hex every single day. So let's see. Let's kill some FUD. You guys want to kill some FUD? All right, so everybody's kind of, and I don't know about everybody, but I imagine people are like, hey man, people are winning these HSIs at the liquidations, and then they're not sending them to the contract for Icosa I mean, because that's where we get our yield from. I'm like, yeah, it's true. So our yield is down, but what's going to happen when when the price of Hex appreciates, and if perhaps, hopefully, the price of Icosa increases and catches up and gets closer to the ceiling price, more of those HSIs are going to be sent to liquidations. Because right now, I mean sent for Icosa, because right now we're 5x below the ceiling price. And so it's more profitable to just buy Icosa straight off the market than it is to send HSIs for Icosa. So people are holding those HSIs, but it's only going to last so long. All right, let's talk about Icosa. We're finally going to talk about Icosa. Let's see here. Would you say Watsas are still a good play at 3 to 4x mint price? I'm not the person to ask, but I'm going to refer you to the Telegram group where you ask that question in there. It's all about Watsas, man. It's in the description underneath the underneath the video. I'm looking for more information. All right, it's in the description. Sorry. Yeah, ask those guys. I know those guys are gonna have all your answers about Watsas in that Telegram chat. So Icosa's total supply is increasing right now. It's increasing logarithmically, but it will eventually become deflationary in time. And that's one of the reasons why like I want you guys to get in. I want everybody to get in to Icosa, and there's like a sense of urgency, let's put it that way, to get Icosa now, because its supply is increasing logarithmically, but it will eventually become deflationary. I mean, every single Icosa to me is very precious. I look at them as worth $1,000 each. That's just where my head is. It'll probably be a long time before we get there, but yeah. And I've got a little nugget at the end of this video for some mindset about crypto. Icosa has the T-share in it twice. So that T-share that we are trying to, beat the time element on is actually in Icosa 2 times. It's in the buyback feature. When you send an HSI to the contract, it sends you Icosa depending on the T-share rate. So, and it's also in the staking points that you earn for staking it. Icosa doesn't have max staking like Hex staking does. It has minimum staking days for a max amount of token. Oh boy, I have a ton of tabs over here. I'm going to show to you guys as soon as we get to it. I'm excited to show you some valuable tools, but there should be links to all of them also below the video. You can only stake one stake per wallet, but make as many stakes as you're comfortable making. So if you guys want like a demonstration, let me know if you guys want a demonstration of how to make multiple wallets. Like I did not know how to make multiple wallets, and I struggled to figure that out. And if it would be helpful to you, I can just post a video on my channel, and that would be valuable for some people, but only if you need it. So let me know if you want a video like that, because I've got one wallet, and I'm preparing for this April 22nd thing, right? So I made like 100 wallets. I made 100 wallets in one hardware wallet. If that makes sense. You don't have to end your stake, but you have a graduated penalty for EESing. So if you end your stake 25% early, then your penalty on your principal and your yield is 25%. EES penalties, what happens to them? Well, 50% is burned, 50% is put into the Icosa pool and distributed to all 3 pools. Stake points determine your share of the pool, which determines your yield. So let's show the screen here. Present. entire screen, boom, share. Okay, so your stake points right here, if I click that, does it? No. So your stake points determine your pool ownership, and your pool ownership determines how much yield you get. That's just how it works. Your pool share will go down as other people. So your stake points remain fixed, but your pool ownership is like dynamic. It will go down as people enter the pool. But also, if when people exit the pool ownership would go up. Yep. Let's see. If you have a stake ending, okay. You ready, guys? Ready for another little nugget? I don't see many people like talk about this in the Telegram, and people ask like, how do I know if I should end my stake and restake it? Well, this is how you do it. Let's say this gal is wondering whether, let's say this is a mature stake. She has got 148 days left, but she's going to take this. This is the formula to take your yield, 237, plus your principal, 1974, divide by the share rate. What we want to do is we want to see an increase in stake points, because if she went down in stake points, her pool ownership would go down, means less yield. But if it goes up, these stake points increase, then her pool ownership goes up, more yield. Okay, so we're going to add the divide. So we're going to take the principal and the yield and divide by the share rate, 26,831 equals 12. Let's go back here. So she'd go from 7.5 M points to 12 M points if she did that today. Does that make sense? Pretty cool little hack. And I don't know how to do it for the Hedron side. It might be the same, but I'm not sure. Something I can figure out. Stop sharing. Okay. You can add your principal. If you wanted to, you could add to your principal and it won't affect your previous principal. Meaning, like if you had 1,000 Icosa stake and you want to add another 1,000, the first 1,000 is still factored at the old share rate. There are instances where you could reduce your stake days and you just got to keep an eye on supply. Like this gal's got 148 days. What if we could stake that? What if we could make it a 90-day stake? Well, in order to do that, the supply would have to increase quite a bit, because the stake links are dependent upon the supply of Icosa and Hedron. Icosa yield is the daily burned Hedron divided by the share rate, and it goes to all three pools. And I need a highlighter here. Need to fix some of this. And I'm kind of like learning as I go, if that makes sense, like improving on the fly. Consider building a staking ladder. What you can do is you can make 90-day stakes. I've heard this talked about, and honestly, I'm really not a fan of the ladder system, but I've heard people talk about it, and that's why I'm mentioning it. You could make a ladder. So, and people have referred to it as like a waterfall strategy, where you have one big stake and then you have your smaller stakes. And then as those mature, you can take your yield from those and put it into your bigger stake. And you could also build like a ladder where you're ending a stake every 30 days or 90 days, something like that. But, I think probably the wisest move at this point, because Icosa is inflating at such a rapid rate, and some of this there's seed liquidity that we're getting right now. The best strategy to optimize, this is my opinion, to optimize intercepting yield is short stakes compounding as soon as possible, and maybe even taking a hit on some principal and yield to intercept big days like we have coming up on April 22nd. Non-financial advice, but I'm not a super big fan of laddering in the sense that I have yield in this bag, but I'm not going to do it for I'm not going to end it and compound for 6 months, because that's the system that I've put in place. It doesn't quite make sense to me, because yield sitting in a stake is not earning you more yield. Where does the Icosa yield come from? Now, mind you, the Hedron section is going to be a lot less. Let me ask you. Let me get to this question here. When you add yield from a smaller Icosa stake to the larger stake, does it reset the stake length? Yes, it does. It could end up being in the same class. It could end up being a 180-day stake, but true. And one of the things I like to do when I make a stake is keep one Icosa or one Hedron in the wallet unstaked, and then if an opportunity comes to where I can reduce the days and I just add a fraction of that Icosa, then I can do that for the bigger stake. Yeah. Is the short-term inflation affecting Icosa likely to drive the price down in the short term? That's a great question. I don't know the answer. I am not the guy that's going to talk about like liquidity and pairs and a lot of the stuff I don't understand yet. And that's ask that question in the Telegram chat. That's a good one, man. So the yield for Icosa comes from the daily burned Hedron. It's divided by the share rate. So let me give you an example of why the share rate is pivotal in this system. So daily burned Hedron divided by the share rate. So let's say we burn a trillion. This would be a lot. We burned a trillion Hedron today, and we're going to divide it by the share rate, and all of that Icosa gets distributed to the pools. Let's say the share rate's 26,000. It's about that. Now, as that share rate, let's say the share rate increases to 30,000 over time, probably by the end of this year, and then we burn another 1 trillion Hedron. But now the share rate's 30,000, so you're dividing a larger number into the same number, and what happens? The yield is going to be less. And that's just one example of how the share rate is important in this system. Yeah, love that I love that gas fees for Icosa are much lower at the end. You mean for end staking? All right, guys, I'm going to try to get this going here. Try to get it going. How to get Icosa? How do you get Icosa? Well, you can get it on Uniswap, Matcha. You can send an HSI to the contract. Just check the exchange rate first, and I'll show you that on Sloth's page. Right now, since Icosa is 4x, 5x below its ceiling, it's more profitable to just buy Icosa. When you do send an HSI, the contract immediately, this is what happens when you send an HSI to the contract. The contract strips all of the advanceable Hedron from that HSI, sends it to the Hedron stakers, and then lets that HSI go into default. And after 90 days, it's in default. 91st day, it's available for auction. Okay. Of course, another way to get Icosa is you can stake Hedron. All right, Hedron, this is going to be really brief. It's right here. Very small section. The yield in this pool is the daily advanced Hedron from HSI sent to the contract. The price is about 50x below ceiling. That just means more Hedron is going to get burnt. Is- another thing we're down in the mouth about is that Hedron is the price is low. Well, it's great because people are willing to spend more to liquidate HSIs, which depletes the supply, which will in turn increase the value of Hedron. So the same staking and staking pool share principles apply to Hedron as in the Icosa pool. Where does the yield come from? HSIs, the daily advanced Hedron divided by the share rate. There's that share rate again. So as the share rate increases, the value of these assets is also going to increase. And I think by the end of this year, and I can show you, it's supposed to be about, I want to say like 33,000, something like that. All right, we'll touch on Watsas. Thank you, Cryptochino. I appreciate the encouragement. In my opinion, this one ain't going as well as the last one. It's all good. We'll get through it. Okay, Watsas were a 14-day opportunity to buy a financial NFT at the beginning of Icosa. And they are a financial NFT. It's now closed, but you can buy them on OpenSea. The Watsa pool gets a copy of the Icosa that goes to the Icosa and the Hedron pool. It's like a game of chicken. So if you buy a Watsa, your yield will always be increasing because as people burn their Watsas, they exit the pool and they can never get back in. They could buy a Watsa, but they can never, no Watsas will ever again be created. So let's say, there's 1,000 people that hold Watsas and 500 of those people have burned their Watsas, then your share of that pool doubled. And so the amount of yield that you're getting doubles as well. So a Watsa in time could be a very valuable financial instrument. And it might be something that a person would want to gift to an heir or something like that. So you can buy them on OpenSea if you missed it, and join the Telegram group if you want pricing. Where does that yield come from that goes to the Watsas? It comes from the daily burned Hedron divided by the share rate, same as the Icosa pool. Plus, the Watsas get a copy of all the Icosa bonuses from the HSI buybacks. There are some big days coming up, April 22nd, and then on August 10th. Right now, there's 42,000 Icosa going to the pool every single day. It's a seeded liquidity. It's about, I want to say it's about a tenth of the yield that's coming into the Icosa pool. That ends August 10th. Yeah, we're averaging about, as of this writing, about 210,000 Icosa per day, including big days, that gets distributed to all the pools. Okay, what we're going to do right now is I'm going to show my screen, share screen, and we're going to, getting nice and fast at this. We're going to look at some auctions because I know a lot of guys are in here for the auctions, which is great. I don't do auctions. I won one HSI like the first week. And since then, I got kind of I spent so much Ethereum. I was like, not my thing. But this is where you do it, man. Right here is the HSI auctions section. And you guys can see this. Okay. So right here at the top are all the HSIs that are waiting to be liquidated. 3,000. What's going to happen on Pulse Chain when we fork this network is a lot of these HSIs are sitting here and they're not being started because it's expensive, right? But on Pulse Chain, it's going to be cheap. I am guessing that on the Pulse network, all of these 3,000 HSIs are going to be started within the first week. That's my prediction. And so that also means that on the Pulse side, we're going to get a lot of yield. These are the liquidations that are happening right now. I think these are ones that I lost, perhaps. No, I wouldn't bid that much. Yeah, but so these HSI, if you wanted to start one, here's how you do it. And then if you wanted to bid one, then what you do is you click on bid, and you have to have Hedron in your wallet, because that's the only way you can bid on these. But we don't have any Hedron, liquid Hedron in this wallet. So, and then if somebody gets outbid in the last 5 minutes, it just resets the auction for 5 minutes. Okay. Only Hedron is used to liquidate. The minimum bid is the advanced Hedron. So this minimum bid over here, it must be up here. Where is the minimum bid? Starting bid. That was the starting bid on these is the advanced Hedron, which it's just like insanely cheap. And people have been sniping these HSIs, like getting 50% discounts on them. It's crazy. The auctions run for 24 hours. There are thousands of HSIs waiting to go. The bigger ones go the fastest. They will all eventually go as the hex price appreciates. Use caution when bidding. We've seen people add extra zeros, and that is a big mistake. Pro tip, copy and paste the high bidder and use that as your template. Like you see somebody bids 26,000, just copy that and paste it as your bid and start there. If you win an auction, the HSI is immediately sent to your wallet. So you'll see it. I think you'll see it reflected right here. It's pretty cool. If you lose an auction, the only thing you're gonna miss out on is your gas fees. You get your Hedron back returned to your wallet. I'm going to show you, so while we're doing this, I'm going to show you Crypto Sloth's website. I'm watching it snow outside. I mean, we're having a pretty significant snowstorm right now. Let's look at, I'm in the right spot. Let me refresh my page. It's been a while. You need to bookmark a lot of sites if you're going to be good HSI deals. If you're going to be engaged in this, you should consider bookmarking some of these pages. Okay, these are the 6 auctions that are ending the soonest. This guy bid $11 worth of Hedron. The underlying Icosa is worth $22. The cost to make the stake was $76. That's a good deal. That is a really good deal. I mean, if he gets it, how much time is left on this one? It's got me excited. Stake ID 683158. Let's go back to 683158. See if we can find that. Huh. Oh, 683 or stake ID. Oh, that one's lost. Wow. I think somebody got a great deal. Current bid wait a second, 4 million Hedron. Yeah, that dude got a good deal, man. Let's look at this one. Value of the bid is $300. The underlying Icosa is worth $159, but the Hex is worth $553. So it's a good deal. It's not a good deal relative to the mintable Icosa, but it is relative to the cost to make that same stake today. And there's a couple other websites I want to show you relevant to, oops, I'm in the wrong tab. This is where I wanted to be. Hold on a second, guys. Hold on. Oh, not this one either. I bet this is it. No? Okay. I am all discombobulated, and I'm on stream. Okay. I had all of these pulled up. I've got a nuts. Well, you'll just have to refer to the links below. I'm just going to hit the highlights. So I showed you this. This is Sloth's site. This is Dev Huey's site. And we already showed you that a little bit, but I want to go into it more because it's valuable. When you are making an Icosa or a Hedron stake, you want to have an idea. It helps to have an idea what the supply is so that you can stake accordingly. Like if you're trying to make a stake with a certain length, you're going to need to know what the supply is. So let's find the supply for Icosa. He posts it every day. My understanding is it's not a dynamic reading, but he's updated it every day. So this is the staked Icosa, which is burnt, and this is liquid Icosa in people's wallets. It's this number here that determines how long you can stake. So, for example, if you were going to do a 30-day stake, you could stake a maximum of 41 Icosa. 90-day stake, 412, and so on. And the same with Hedron. Let's see if we can find the supply for Hedron. I am sorry, guys, that I lost those tabs somehow. Let's see if we can find the supply for Hedron. It's like, I want to say it's like 117 trillion. So you can stake like 1.17 billion Hedron for 90 days. Something like that. All right. Yeah, let's just go over these tabs. If you have Hex Stakes, I tried some of the smaller auctions, but the fees added up quick. I did the same thing. It was so expensive for me. I was like, I'm just going to try to compound my yield. Yeah, I saw that too. ETH broke 2,000. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. I'm excited, man. Okay, again, this is not my bag, but this is a stake tracking website that I really like, and you can put multiple wallets in here. Just put a comma and add your other wallets, and you see. I mean, it's brilliant. It's so clean looking, and you can put it in USD if you want, and you can do a projected overview. You know, I love Stakehex.today for Hex information and the share rate. I recommend Hex Daily Stats, and I use it for gas price also. Pretty expensive right now. Now this is a website where I get the share rate forecast for me. And this is where, let's look at the end of 2023. Yeah, see, it's going to be about 32,000. Crispy built this website. It's hexfire.io. Bookmark it, and then because you might be referring to it. Like if you're thinking, hey, I'm going to buy some Icosa, maybe this month or maybe next month. Well, if you're trying to make a decision, well, why would you buy it here when the share rate is higher versus buying it here and staking it? You know what I mean? So this is a valuable tool. We use Uniswap. You could use Uniswap, or I think Mantra also, for swapping your Ethereum into Icosa and Hedron. And let me just bear with me, guys. I know I'm missing some stuff here that I wanted to show you. Hex model, daily stats. Hope I'm not doxing anything in here. I don't think I am. trust token. Oh, here, yeah, I'm glad I did this. This is for the guys that really want to get into the auctions. I've got to show you this because a lot of people ask. Hedron.today is a place where you can do some work. I'm not an expert at using these sites, but use them if you want to get in on the liquidations. Jot this down: Hedron.today. You can see lots of good information there, and then Hex HSI auction sandbox.mxapps.io, and you can use these sites as well. And I think they're linked down below. All right. Hex, Icosa, Hedron, and Watson will all be copied onto the new Pulse chain that RH is developing. Follow Hex News on Telegram for updates, and also Richard Hart on Twitter. Cryptographics wrote a book about this whole ecosystem, and it's very, very well done. It's like in bullet format, and I recommend it. Get it on Amazon. It's like $20. Give it a rating. I'm not done reading it yet, so I haven't rated it. If you want one-on-one coaching, see Cryptographics or Crypto Sloth. Old HSIs will be auctioned each time Icosa nears its ceiling price, and their value will increase. All right, you ready for some golden nuggets? I've got two. The one I told you about earlier, and then here's another one. You can buy, now check this out. We'll focus on positions. Like if you're not familiar with, you got your whales, which are your biggest players, followed by sharks, dolphins, squids, and turtles. Just as a general rule. But you can buy a squid position in Hex right now. It would cost you $216,000. Squid position in Hedron, $3,000. Squid position in Icosa, $300. All right. My opinion, before I get to that, I want to answer this question or whatever it is. So, like you, I would like to possibly ES before so I can take advantage of the yield earned that day. But do we know the ballpark of what the percent earned that day may be? Percent earned, I don't know. I know it's 6,000 T-shares, and as I showed in Hex model, like the average that we're getting to per day is, I don't know how many T-shares, man. I wish I knew, but I'm going to share my screen for you, Crypto Chino, because you weren't here, and this is my stream, so I can kind of do my thing. I'm going to go back and show you. You're going to have to do your own homework. Like I was saying, I'm actually going to sit down with my spouse and have a conversation about this. And I have a ton of notes. We're going to go over it carefully. And we'll talk about percent earned that day may be. Okay, this is that day that you're referring to right here. 6,000 T-shares versus, let's call it April 16th, 200 T-shares. So, I mean, I almost want to say, like, you tell me. That's an enormous spike. And then you got these other days in here. You know, this is 1,000 T-shares, and that's 2,000 T-shares. My stake ends here. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm going to EES and put my yield to work for me back here. But just do it very carefully. And the way you're going to figure out your penalty, and mind you, your penalty is going to be on your interest and your principal, is take your if it's a 270-day stake and you have 15 days left, 15 divided by 270, it's going to be a 5% penalty on your principal and your interest. So let me know if that helps, man. For me, let's see. I think I'd be penalized like less than 14%. Yeah, for me, it's going to be about 8%. But if I earn like 5% of that back on that day alone, it may be worth it. Yeah, it's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. And would be earning way more yield each day for restaking what I emergency unstaked. Yeah, pencil it out, man. Take that, do that formula where you take your yield plus your principal and divide it by the share rate to see how many points you're going to get. I don't see many people talking about emergency end staking, and I don't consider myself as intelligent as many other guys in the chat. So when I take what they're doing very seriously. Like if Crypto Sloth ain't gonna EES, I gotta be very, very careful. But also too, there's a reason why people may not be saying anything, because they want to take advantage of it and they don't want anybody else to take advantage of it. All right, guys, if there aren't any other questions, we're going to shut this down. It has been a minute. It has been a minute, but I'm not going to let you go before I give you the golden nugget that I would encourage everyone to do, and this is it. And I think you guys aren't in this category, but there's a lot of people that are focused on price, and we love the price to go up. But especially when it comes to like Icosa and Hex and Hedron, one of the things that we need to do is focus on token count. How many tokens do I have? How many tokens can I get? How many tokens can I earn more by emergency end staking or some crazy thing like that, right? It's all about, winning in crypto, in my opinion, is about token count. Because I think what happens is, and I've seen this in the past, is that when price starts moving, when I have a good token count, it's like the value just expands like mushrooms, right? So that's your golden nugget for the stream. So she's possibly a 30x from what we earn on 200 shares, as opposed to, yeah. Yeah, 30x. I mean, a 30x. And this is kind of how I'm thinking about it. And if you're EESing 15 days early, then you're going to take a hit, but then you end up being more like a 15x right off the bat, something like that. But again, I would counsel with somebody or pencil it out for sure. JL, you are very welcome. Yeah, guys, it's been a stream. Appreciate you jumping in and participating. It's been fun. Thanks, guys. We'll chat again later. Bye. Thanks so much.